agent is now in your group.
Around that shield!
I'm going to be showing you a riggers build that you can use in legendary. It is a bit of a situational build, but I will explain that a bit later on. So let me take you through the pieces first. So on this build, we're going to be running 4 pieces of riggers. So 2 pieces gives you 15% skill haste. The third piece gives you 15% skill duration. And when you have the 4th piece on, you unlock a talent called Tend and Befriend. So interacting with your deployed skill grants the skill 25% skill damage for 10 seconds. This buff cannot be refreshed. Interactions include deploying the skill, changing the skill's target, and healing the skill. So on the rigger brand set, it is important that you have the backpack, because the backpack gives you a special talent, and this is what literally makes the riggers build powerful. So you have a talent called Complete Uptime. Canceling your skills will reset their cooldown. So that what that means is if you have a drone out or a turret out and you deconstruct it, you will get it instantly back. The one thing is that you are better if you're going to run a drone and turret build, you're better off running a high end, because with a high end it will out DPS, it will out damage the riggers set if you're running a drone and turret build. I understand that, oh, you're gonna get it straight away, but with a high end yellow build you just have to wait, what, 10 seconds max, or maybe just a couple seconds lower. But this build is we're not going to be using a drone turret. So for the rest of the build, so on the attributes, okay, I have stasis effect, so that's what you want to run, and I have a protection from elite skier mod. On the glove I have stasis effect, on the knee pads I have stasis effect, and on the holster I have stasis effect. As you can see, on all the pieces we are going to be running a stasis effect attribute. For the chest piece, I'm running a Wavenward chest piece because it gives you 10% skill damage. On here, I have skill damage and stasis effect with a protection from elite skier mod, and the talent is glass cannon. So all damage you deal is amplified by 25%. All damage you take is amplified by 50%. So that's the downside. You're very squishy. You can easily get dropped. If you want to, you can use kinetic momentum, or you can use Overwatch. I think Overwatch is a very good skill because you will buff your team as well. But the good thing about glass cannon is the damage buff is applied to your skills and towards your gun. So unlike kinetic momentum only increases your skills damage. Oh, that's why Overwatch is a good choice, because it increases your skill damage and your weapon damage, and it also applies to your teammates. For the mask, I'm running the exotic bow mask. So on here we have a protection from elite skier mod, and the talent is called toxic delivery. So stasis effect also apply a damage over time debuff for 10 seconds. Total damage dealt is equal to 50% of your concussion grenades damage and increased by your stasis effect attributes. So this is why we have a bunch of stasis effect on. And stasis effect increases the duration of your stasis effect. So the more stasis effect attributes you have on, the longer your stasis effect will be. Okay, it doesn't increase the damage, it just increases the time of your stasis effect. Okay, so for our skills, we are running the flamethrower turret, or you can call it the incinerator turret, which is the actual name for it. I just prefer calling it the flamethrower turret. So the flamethrower turret applies burn stasis effect on affected target. Okay, and our second skill is the shock trap, so applies shock stasis effect on the affected target. So what's so good about riggers is we're going to be using this skill. These two skills are such a good combination. The incinerator will burn your enemies, and this will shock them and keep them in place. Okay, but one thing I need to remind you about the riggers is that can you see how long the cooldown time is? So you make sure to deconstruct your skill. Okay, because if you do not deconstruct your skill, you will literally have to wait for that 44 seconds, which is such a long time to wait. So just make sure you deconstruct it. Okay, so let me just show you. Okay, so if I throw my flamethrower turret here, okay, it will... So see, it's not shooting now. This is what you have to know. So you actually do have to press a button in order to shoot, just like the drone and turret. But the difference is you can actually stop this from shooting. So this is on R1. If I tap R1, it will shoot the flamethrower. But can you see why I said this build is a bit more situational? Because it only has this area to shoot. Okay, it doesn't really cover a big amount of space. So this build is better for legendaries that are... the areas are much more closer. So like, for example, District Union, this build would be perfect for it. So if I deconstruct the skill, I'll get it instantly. Okay, And this has ammo, so you can literally stop it from shooting. So you can shoot, press R1 again, stop, continue to shoot again, stop, deconstruct, and place it somewhere else. Okay. It also works with the shock trap. So if I place it out, okay, and I deconstruct it, there you go, I got the shock traps back. So it's really good combination. So best thing to do is throw the shock trap out. Okay, that will keep the enemies in place. Throw this out and burn them. So that's a good combination. Just make sure to deconstruct your skills, you know, and you can deconstruct as much as you want and keep placing it wherever you want. So that's a good thing about the build. Okay, so for the rest of the build, for the weapons, I'm using the capacitor. The capacitor is a must on most skill builds, or on all skill builds. So on here we have a talent called Capacitate. Shooting enemies builds stack to a cap of 40. Each stack grants 1.5% skill damage. After 5 seconds, stacks decay 1 per second. For each skill tier, gain 7.5% on weapon damage. So we are getting 7.5% weapon damage. On top of that, we are getting the glass cannon buff. Okay, so we're getting 25% weapon damage, and we're getting 7.5% weapon damage from all of the skill tiers we have here. For the second gun, I'm using the Everlasting Gaze because you have perfect perpetuation. Headshots grant 50% status effect damage and duration to the next status effects you apply. So when you do a headshot with this build, just make sure not to swap to your other guns. Keep this gun on and then activate your skills, because if you swap to the capacitor after you've procced the talent, you will lose the talent. It will just disappear and won't be active. For the last gun, we are using the Firestarter. You can only get this gun with the Firewall specialization. Okay, so this has shotgun damage and health damage on. So what's so special about this actually is that it has a talent called Primer Round. So damaged enemies lose 50% burn resistance for 5 seconds. And I did not know this. So using this, you are actually able to deal status effect damage, well, with burn, towards robots or robotics. So by using this gun, I can damage mini tanks, dogs, or whatever there is, and I can actually increase the damage against boomers or chunguses. So this is pretty good. The only downside to this is 2 downsides. Is you only have 2 bullets in the mag, which is really annoying, and it's only for 5 seconds. So you have to do things quite quickly, and it's really annoying. You can't shoot many targets either to proc the talent, but it's still really useful. You'll see me use it in the gameplay. I'm also using the Firestarter. The reason for that being is because the Firestarter, I'm using Firewall because the Firewall specialization gives you 20% burn duration. And because we have status effect on here, and we are mainly going to be using the burn status effect, by increasing it by 20%, we will be able to output a lot more damage. And on top of that, the armor kits are pretty OP. Okay, so let me show you. We have 20% burn duration here, and your armor kit recovers 200 armor and 200% health over 10 seconds. We also get 30% health on kill, and we get allies deal 10% damage to enemies that are within 10 meters of you. So those are all really good parts of the build. So you need to use Firewall on this build. It's mainly because of the burn duration. Let me show you the damage output. So that on hard. Okay. So this is with nothing activated at the moment. It's doing 222. That's getting up to... can't really see it, honestly. But I mean, it's doing a good amount of damage. Like, look at that. I can't see with all the numbers in the way. Okay, if we deactivate it, I think 262 it does. I think that's max stack, if I'm mistaken. 254. I think my stacks are decaying. 283. Yeah, around 283. And the fire lasts pretty long as well. I mean, it's got a decent amount of duration on the burn status effect. So yeah, that's pretty much the build, guys. It's a pretty fun build to use. Very situational, as I said. I don't know if I mentioned this, but I don't recommend using a drone turret on the riggers. You're just gonna get outperformed by a person running a drone and turret on a high-end yellow skill build. So another version I can think of using riggers on is using a decoy. You can focus on the decoy for legendary purposes, but this is one of the other ones that is really fun to use. Anyways, guys, please like and subscribe to the channel and the video. I really appreciate your support, and I hope you guys have a great weekend and a great day. Peace.